Theater, and she is one of the very few true capital S stars we have. And the best part of all, she's right here.
Oh, Dennis. Oh, thank you for them glorious words.
Oh, thank you very much, but heartfelt, you can be sure of that. Now, I have to ask you, after congratulating you and everybody, and a special congratulations to Jerry Herman, because although I thought I knew Mame, as I was sitting there Sunday night, I thought, gee, there's one hit right after another. I didn't really realize
Isn't it astonishing?
Exactly.
Yes.
So a special congratulations to him, but to the whole cast.
Indeed.
But a lot of people ask me after they say, oh, meaning you, isn't she wonderful? Why Mame? Why not something new?
Well, I think for the simple reason that Mame was my entrance to a Broadway career, really, in earnest, in the musical sense. And when you have a great vehicle like Mame, you don't just put it to bed forever. You always say, well, one day I'd love to do it again. And after all, why not now? This is a time when we need a bit of Mame, we need a bit of Christmas, we need a bit of hope, and we need something to enliven our view and our attitude towards life. And I think Mame's a great anecdote to the doldrums and the recession and everything else.
I agree with that, and I agree. And while I was sitting there again watching it, I thought, gee, although it's really not that old, a musical, I thought, musicals really changed right after this. I mean, they began, well, a musical that you did, Sweeney Todd.
Oh, yes.
Or Chorus Line, or musicals, they got edgier and a little more neurotic and a little more, maybe adventurous, but the book musical, old-fashioned in the best sense of the word, Mame had to be one of the last of those, even though it isn't that long ago.
Yes, it just about was, to be honest, and even in those days that we first did it, it was quite innovative. The idea of choreographing the movement of the sets with the dancing, with the entrances into new scenes, and that was very innovative. And of course today, every show you see, everything is choreographed, and the curtain never comes down. There is no curtain, and everything just goes in and out, and no stops and no scene changes. Everything just slides, and everything's on winches, and it's kind of interesting.
And you yourself, as long as we're on this point, twice leave the ground by some dangerous length. At one point, you're what, 15, 20 feet off the ground?
Yeah, I am. When I'm on the moon, I'm about, I guess I'm about 15 feet off the ground, and then when I'm on the window, the same with the little boy. So we do some aerial work, yes. A little bit of circus nonsense, you know.
Well, that brings up, I don't want to bring, I know I'll embarrass you if I call you a star one more time, but what do you feel are the obligations of you as the leader, let us say, of this, or virtually every show you've been in?
Well,
do you feel you have obligations?
Yeah, I have an obligation to turn up. No.
You do that?
No, I think that it's always helpful when you have a figurehead who everyone feels is interested and is enthusiastic about the project as they are, and who really cares desperately about it. Well, obviously I care, otherwise I wouldn't put in so many hours that I do in the theater. I love the theater, I love working with an audience, I love the sense of participation that I have with the rest of the cast, and I mean, that's the joy of working in the theater. And if you love it, you'll stick around, and you'll probably become a star. So well, as I say, turn up and hang around. That's the answer.
I think it's a little more complicated than that, but certainly you have to do those two things.
Well,
I've talked to people who have worked with you in shows, and they say that you really are the leader, that you really set the pace and set the tone and say, all right, gang, let's pull it together and that sort of thing.
Well, I certainly am a hard taskmaster. I really demand a lot of excellence from everybody, but mainly from myself. I don't think you can go out there and do half a show. I don't think you can turn up and not be completely there. And I really always have that sense of urgency and desire to just go out and win every time. And I guess that's a failing in my personal makeup that makes me have to win. Oh. Not win, shall we say, but let's say do a good show.
Constantly, always. Yeah. You mention your love of the theater, and yet really you started, as far as we know, I mean publicly, in movies, and had and continue to have, as a matter of fact, an extensive movie career. When you were, it seems to me that when you did, was it Dorian Gray or Gaslight or both, you were a child. I mean, you were a teenager.
Yeah, keep saying that louder. I was absolutely.
You were a teenager.
I was knee-high to a duck. Yeah, no, I was 17
but you did,
or something, you know.
Yeah, 17 years old. And an Oscar nomination?
Yeah. But it was heady stuff.
Not bad.
But I've had many careers. It's interesting. I'm kind of a three-faced woman in a sense, you could say, because I had a career in movies, as you know, and then came to Broadway and was played some rather sturdy roles, you know, and then a third career was suddenly musical theatre. And that, of course, is my great love, because I love music. Music second to acting is the thing that gives me the greatest pleasure to be part of, and to work in a musical background is great.
But to make all those transitions from movies then to being on the Broadway stage, for heaven's sakes, you've played in Hamlet, played Gertrude with Albert Finney, you've done serious, deadly serious theater, and to make all those transitions, I, for one, am astonished that you could do that.
Well, it all has to do with having a talent to characterize, I think. And it doesn't matter whether it's couched in music or whether it's couched in heavy drama or high comedy or low comedy. I want to try everything and I want to do everything. Well, and I've been fortunate enough to have had a crack at a lot of various mediums of acting. So
we want you to continue to try. No. They're telling me we're out of time. But I have to ask you this one thing.
Yeah.
You've done a television show which is yet to air with Laurence Olivier.
Yes. Most exciting, A Talent for Murder. We just finished it just a couple of months ago. It'll be airing, I think, this fall. Talent for Murder. I play an 80-year-old woman in a wheelchair with a Louise Brooks wig and a fantastic makeup, a whole different voice, a whole new set of tricks. I can't wait for you to see it.
Well, we thank you very much.
Laurence is a dream, a dearest man in the world. Yes.
And quite an actor. That must be.
I can't tell you. It was a dream come true for me to work with him.
I look forward to that. But right now, Angela Lansbury and Mame at the Gershwin Theatre. I heartily recommend it. Ladies?